What happens when Hollywood's most powerful men become unrecognizable to their own fans? Right now, some of the biggest male stars in entertainment history are living proof that the pursuit of eternal youth can become your greatest enemy. From boxing champions turned actors to pop legends who lost themselves in the mirror, these transformations will shock you to your core. But here's what the tabloids won't tell you. Behind every dramatic change is a story of desperation, pressure, and the crushing weight of American fame. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover will forever change how you see masculine identity in Hollywood. These aren't just makeover stories. They're cautionary tales about what happens when the pressure to stay relevant becomes more powerful than the courage to age gracefully. The fighter who lost everything in the ring. Picture this. You're one of Hollywood's most beautiful leading men in the 1980s, with a face that could launch 1,000 movies. Then you make a decision that destroys everything. You walk away from acting to become a professional boxer. This is Mickey Rourke's story, and it's more tragic than any role he ever played. Rourke wasn't just handsome, he was dangerously magnetic, the kind of man who redefined masculine beauty on screen. But when he stepped into the boxing ring, he traded his future for a sport that would literally reshape his identity. The brutal fights left him with facial fractures that required multiple reconstructive surgeries, each one taking him further away from the man he used to be. Here's the heartbreaking truth. The procedures meant to fix the damage often made things worse. Rourke has been devastatingly honest about his regrets, particularly about surgeries performed by doctors who, in his words, messed up his face beyond recognition. The hair transplants, nose jobs, and cheek implants weren't vanity. They were desperate attempts to reclaim what boxing had stolen from him. But Rourke's story isn't just about physical transformation. It's about the American dream turned nightmare, a man who had everything, threw it away for glory in another arena, and spent decades trying to put the pieces back together. His comeback performance in The Wrestler wasn't just acting. It was a man pouring his soul into a character that mirrored his own fall from grace. The action hero's desperate fight against time. Sylvester Stallone built an empire on strength, determination, and that iconic crooked smile that made him uniquely American. But behind the Rocky and Rambo personas was a man fighting a different kind of battle, against the mirror and the relentless march of time. Stallone's transformation story begins with tragedy. In a 1992 interview, he revealed that his famous lopsided smile wasn't a choice. It was the result of nerve damage from complications during his birth. This early experience with facial difference may have shaped his later relationship with cosmetic surgery. As the years passed, Stallone allegedly underwent facelifts, Botox injections, and brow lifts in an attempt to maintain the rugged masculinity that made him famous. But here's where the story becomes tragic. The procedures designed to preserve his strength began to rob him of his natural expressions. The man who once embodied raw, authentic American masculinity started to look artificial, frozen in time. Fans who grew up watching Stallone dominate the screen in the 1980s and 1990s couldn't help but mourn the loss of his natural, weathered charisma. His transformation serves as a reminder that sometimes the very efforts to preserve what makes us special can end up destroying it. Stallone's journey reflects the impossible pressure American male stars face to remain eternally young in an industry that worships youth above experience. The country legend's painful admission. Kenny Rogers was more than a country music star. He was the embodiment of American storytelling, a man whose weathered face told 1,000 tales before he even opened his mouth to sing. But in the 1990s, Rogers made a decision that would haunt him for the rest of his life. He tried to erase the very lines that made him legendary. Rogers underwent multiple cosmetic surgeries, including facelifts, Botox injections, and most notably, eyelid surgery that left him looking like a stranger to himself. In his 2013 memoir, Rogers was brutally honest about his regret. "I wasn't happy about it. It was so tight around my eyes. It was driving me crazy." Think about the profound sadness in that statement. Here was a man whose natural, rugged appearance had made him millions of dollars and won him millions of hearts, admitting that his attempt to improve himself had made him miserable. The skin around his eyes was pulled so tight that he felt constantly uncomfortable, a daily reminder of his mistake. Roger's transformation represents something uniquely American, the belief that we can always reinvent ourselves, that there's always a second act waiting. But sometimes the second act becomes a tragedy. When Rogers passed away in 2020, he left behind not just a musical legacy, but a cautionary tale about the importance of embracing the natural aging process and the stories our faces tell. The comedian who became a mystery. Scott Thompson, better known as Carrot Top, has become one of Hollywood's greatest transformation mysteries. Known for his shock of red hair and manic energy, Carrot Top's gradual change over the past decade has sparked endless speculation about what really happens when fame meets insecurity. The changes are undeniable, more defined, arched eyebrows suggesting a possible brow lift, a fuller, more angular face that hints at cheek implants or fillers, and noticeably smoother skin that speaks to possible Botox treatments. Yet Carrot Top has consistently denied having any procedures, instead crediting his transformation to intense workouts and healthy living. But here's what makes Carrot Top's story so fascinating. His denial itself tells a story. In a culture where male celebrities are expected to age naturally while female stars are scrutinized for every enhancement, Carrot Top's transformation exists in a gray area that challenges our assumptions about masculine beauty standards. His joke that if I had actually had plastic surgery, I would look even better than I do now reveals the complex psychology of male celebrity transformation. Whether his changes are surgical or natural, Carrot Top's evolution reflects the pressure that even comedians, people we expect to care less about appearance, face in maintaining relevance in an image-obsessed industry. The TV judge's shocking admission. Simon Cowell's transformation might be the most dramatic admission of cosmetic excess in recent Hollywood history. The British television personality, who made a career out of brutal honesty, finally had to confront the truth about his own appearance. In 2023, Cowell made a shocking confession. He had been using Botox like toothpaste to maintain his youthful appearance. The results were catastrophic. His face became so stiff and unnatural that even his own son was reportedly horrified by the changes. When Cowell appeared in a video celebrating One Direction's success, the transformation was so dramatic that fans barely recognized him. The turning point came when Cowell looked at a photo of himself and admitted, "I didn't recognize it." This moment of recognition, or lack thereof, represents the ultimate nightmare of cosmetic enhancement, becoming a stranger to yourself. His son Eric's reaction added another layer of tragedy. Even his own child couldn't connect with the man his father had become. Cowell's decision to stop the treatments and remove some of the fillers represents a kind of redemption story. His return to a more natural approach, focusing on healthy lifestyle choices rather than surgical interventions, shows that it's possible to step back from the brink of transformation excess. His journey serves as a powerful reminder that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit you've gone too far and choose authenticity over artificial perfection. The human Ken doll's extreme journey. Justin Jedlica represents the extreme end of transformation culture, a man who has undergone an estimated 600,000 procedures in his quest to become a living Ken doll. Born in 1980 in New York, Justin's obsession began in childhood while watching Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, where he associated beauty modifications with wealth and success. What makes Justin's story uniquely American is his association of cosmetic surgery with the pursuit of luxury and status. For him, transformation wasn't just about appearance. It was about embodying the wealth and lavish lifestyle he dreamed of achieving. This connection between beauty and economic success reflects deep-seated American values about self-improvement and reinvention. Justin's journey began just 4 days after his 18th birthday with his first nose job, marking the start of what would become a lifelong passion for body modification. By 2012, he had undergone approximately 190 cosmetic surgeries, with costs estimated at around $600,000. His procedures included multiple nose jobs, breast implants, and shoulder and arm lifts, earning him the nickname 99.9% plastic surgery. The financial aspect of Justin's transformation raises uncomfortable questions about access to extreme body modification. His brief marriage to a successful businessman and residence in Trump Tower until their divorce in 2016 may have helped finance his lifestyle, highlighting how economic privilege enables extreme transformation. Now living in Australia and openly admitting to polygamous relationships, Justin continues to defend his choices, calling plastic surgery an art form and a way to express himself. His story forces us to confront our assumptions about gender, beauty, and the limits of self-expression in modern society. The Hollywood legend's secret battle. Burt Reynolds was the epitome of 1970s American masculinity, ruggedly handsome, effortlessly cool, with a mustache that became as iconic as any movie prop. But behind that confident exterior was a man fighting a private battle with aging and the pressure to maintain his legendary status. Reynolds admitted to having cosmetic procedures, including eyelid surgery to correct ptosis, drooping eyelids, that affected his vision. His explanation was practical. "I was tired of people telling me that I looked tired." This simple statement reveals the crushing pressure celebrities face when their natural aging process becomes public commentary. What's tragic about Reynolds' story is how his attempts to address practical concerns, vision problems caused by drooping eyelids, became entangled with vanity and public perception. The procedures that were meant to help him see better also changed how others saw him, leading to speculation and criticism that followed him for the rest of his career. Reynolds always maintained that his youthful appearance was largely due to healthy lifestyle choices and good genetics, but the speculation never stopped. Some critics argued that his cosmetic procedures had robbed him of his signature charm, while others defended his right to make personal choices about his appearance. His story illustrates the impossible position male stars often find themselves in. If they age naturally, they risk being seen as past their prime. If they seek help maintaining their appearance, they risk losing the authentic masculinity that made them famous in the first place. The Goodfellas star's silent struggle. Ray Liotta made his mark in Hollywood with an intensity and authenticity that couldn't be faked. His role as Henry Hill in Goodfellas showcased a man whose face told stories of danger, passion, and moral complexity. But over the years, speculation grew about whether Liotta had undergone procedures to maintain his distinctive appearance. The changes to Liotta's face over time led many to suspect facelifts and Botox injections. These procedures seemed to have smoothed and firmed his skin, but they also left his face looking somewhat stiff and puffy, a far cry from the dynamic expressions that made him famous. What makes Liotta's story particularly poignant is his choice to remain silent about the speculation. In an industry known for pressure to maintain youthfulness, Liotta let his talent and dedication speak for themselves rather than addressing rumors about his appearance. His transformation raises profound questions about the price of perfection and the limits of artificial beauty. But perhaps the greatest lesson from Liotta's journey is that what truly makes a person shine isn't their temporary appearance, but the lasting impact they leave through their work and authentic self-expression. When Liotta passed away in 2022, he left behind a legacy that transcended any questions about his appearance. His story reminds us that true beauty lies in self-confidence and the ability to express ourselves through lasting values rather than fleeting physical perfection. The rock star's unapologetic choices. Gene Simmons has never been one to shy away from controversy, and his approach to plastic surgery was no different. In 2007, at age 57, the Kiss co-founder underwent an 11-hour procedure that included a facelift, eyelid surgery, and liposuction, all documented on his reality show, Gene Simmons' Family Jewels. What sets Simmons apart from other celebrity transformation stories is his complete ownership of his choices. He was refreshingly honest about his motivations, admitting he felt insecure about sagging skin around his jawline and wanted to refresh his appearance. "I'm in the entertainment industry," he said. "I need to look good." This pragmatic approach to cosmetic surgery reflects a very American attitude towards self-improvement and business success. For Simmons, the procedures weren't about vanity. They were about maintaining his brand and continuing to succeed in an industry that demands visual impact. Despite mixed reviews about the necessity of his procedures, Simmons expressed no regrets, emphasizing that personal confidence and satisfaction were more important than public criticism. His post-surgery success, continued sold-out concerts, ongoing business ventures, and Kiss's legendary status proved that personal decisions don't have to be obstacles to professional achievement. Simmons' story represents a healthier relationship with cosmetic enhancement. Make informed choices, own those choices completely, and don't let others' opinions define your self-worth. The King of Pop's tragic transformation. No discussion of male celebrity transformation would be complete without addressing Michael Jackson, whose gradual change over the decades became one of the most scrutinized and heartbreaking stories in entertainment history. The King of Pop's transformation wasn't just about appearance. It was about identity, race, and the crushing pressure of unprecedented global fame. Jackson's changes began in the early 1980s with what he described as necessary rhinoplasty procedures to improve breathing after an injury. But over time, multiple surgeries including chin augmentation, cheek implants, and eyelid surgery gradually altered his face beyond recognition. The addition of skin lightening procedures created even more controversy and speculation about his motivations. What makes Jackson's story so tragic is the context surrounding his transformation. Growing up in the spotlight, facing racism in the entertainment industry, and dealing with intense scrutiny of his appearance created a perfect storm of insecurity and pressure. His changes weren't just cosmetic choices. They were responses to a hostile world that never allowed him to feel comfortable in his own skin. While some fans sympathized with his struggles, understanding that his transformation was a result of media pressure and harsh beauty standards, others criticized him for losing his natural appearance and identity. The debates about race and identity that surrounded his changing skin tone added another layer of complexity to an already tragic situation. Despite the controversy surrounding his appearance, Jackson's musical talent remained undeniable. His contributions to music and the legacy he left behind continue to inspire generations, proving that artistic genius can transcend physical appearance and social criticism. His story remains a powerful reminder of the human cost of fame and the importance of mental health support for those living under intense public scrutiny. The price of masculine perfection. What we've learned. These stories reveal a troubling truth about modern masculinity and fame. Even the most successful, powerful men in entertainment are not immune to the pressures that drive people toward extreme transformation. Each of these journeys reflects different aspects of the American male experience: the pressure to remain strong, relevant, and eternally youthful in a culture that worships both authenticity and perfection. What's particularly striking about male celebrity transformations is how they challenge traditional ideas about masculine vanity. We're taught to believe that men should age naturally, that caring too much about appearance is somehow unmanly. Yet these stories show that male celebrities face just as much pressure as their female counterparts to maintain impossible standards of youth and beauty. The tragic irony is that many of these transformations robbed these men of the very qualities that made them special. Mickey Rourke's dangerous beauty, Kenny Rogers' weathered storytelling face, Michael Jackson's unique features, all sacrificed in pursuit of an ideal that ultimately proved hollow. But there are also stories of redemption and self-acceptance here. Simon Cowell's decision to step back from excessive procedures, Gene Simmons' unapologetic ownership of his choices, and Burt Reynolds' eventual peace with his decisions show that it's possible to find balance and authenticity even after making mistakes. These transformations force us to confront uncomfortable questions about aging, masculinity, and the price of fame in America. They remind us that behind every dramatic change is a human being struggling with the same insecurities we all face, just magnified by the unforgiving spotlight of celebrity. As we scroll through social media and judge the choices others make with their bodies, perhaps we should remember that the pursuit of perfection often leads not to happiness, but to a prison of our own making. The real courage isn't in changing ourselves to meet impossible standards. It's in finding the strength to be authentically ourselves in a world that's constantly telling us we're not enough. These transformations tell us as much about ourselves as they do about the celebrities who underwent them. What do you think drives these extreme changes? Have these stories changed your perspective on masculine beauty standards and the pressure men face in Hollywood? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the untold stories behind the headlines. Remember, real strength comes from accepting yourself, not from changing yourself to please others.